Hi guys, and welcome back here to the Dev Realm, and today we carry on our series. And in the last episode what we did is that we have completed this door, as you can see here. So right now we have a door that we can interact with, and we can also press E again, and then we'll go back to the normal status. Now we're gonna do something really quickly here, because in the last video we have created this option called actor can interact. So if we toggle that to false, the actor is not going to be able to interact with this. So what we want to do here is that we want to move this to the parent class, because I do see that we're going to use this over and over again. So I'm going to go back here to the base door, and I'm just going to move my windows around here. And right, so the first thing here, let's start to organize our project a little bit better. So in the is open door location and the actor interaction, we're going to assign to a category called, let's say, door interaction, right? We're gonna drag and drop this here. We're gonna drag and drop that here. Cool. Now for the can interact thing, if you notice, we are using in a couple of places, right? So we can interact in here. We also did this really thing here where we check if the actor can interact with this or not. So what we are going to do here is that we are going to move this to the parent class. So if you right click, and then you have this option called move to the parent class, so just click on that. So that has been now moved to the parent class, and we're gonna make sure it's public, so we can the actor can interact with this. Let me just check if, yeah, that's the wrong one, sorry. Let's just do a Ctrl Z here. What we're looking for is not this one. I'm just gonna move this one here. The one we want is the actor can interact with. Sorry for that. So let me move this to the parent class. Compile and save. Yeah. In here, we're just gonna compile and save again. Let's check. Why is this throwing an error? Probably just need to refresh. Yeah. Right, cool. Now that's fine. Now we have this set up on our parent class. So what happened now is that we're gonna limit it what actors we can interact with. The reason why we're doing this is because you don't wanna be able to open a door without a key, you know, like you still are able to do if you want to, but the normal puzzles you require some kind of a lever or some kind of a key to interact with the door, right? Cool, so to do this, what we're gonna do now is, so we're going to creating here like something that when the actor interact with the puzzle, right? So to do this, we're gonna leave this one as default is true, so it's always true here, and just gonna save that, and we're gonna create here a branch that if the actor allow the player to interact with, then we are going to be able to do something with it, right? We're gonna compile and save. And one more thing as well, when you select this, just make sure it goes inside the settings here, just because it's a settings component. Yeah. Now what happened is if we go to our door here again, let me just put this on the window, we have this settings called actor can interact with. So if I put this to false, right, we should not be able to interact with. And now if I put this back to true, press play, we are now able to interact with the door. Cool. Now there's one more thing here that we need to do. If you go back to our door here, let's just make sure that on this action here, remember that we had done this API actor interact with the door. Let's just go ahead and just call the API handle door straight away here. And we don't need to do this anymore. And you go back to our event graph, we don't need this stuff anymore, because now our parent class manage this for us. Great. So now let's see if that still works for our lever as well. Browse to the asset here. Where is the browse to assets? Let's go back to our lever here, and let's bring our lever down. Alright, so now we should still be able to interact with both items. We should still be able to interact with the lever, and should still be able to interact with the door. Right, cool, nice. So one thing that we need to do now is somehow, put those two items together. Like we put the door and when you trigger the lever, it will open the door, and vice versa. Alright, so to do this, we need to store reference of the items we want to trigger on, right? And if you notice, what we can do here is something very, very simple, right? So the first thing we're gonna do here is select our door, make sure that the actor can't interact with the door, which is good. And I'm just gonna save my level. I'm gonna open up my lever here. I'm gonna go to the parent class, and in here, I'm gonna create a new variable, and I am gonna call this actors to interact, right? Actors to interact. And the next thing I want to do here is I want to create a reference to all those actors in here. So on the type of the variable, we're going to select BP base puzzle. So that's the type we want to interact with. Make sure it's an object. Make sure is public and is an array in here. Make sure the variable type is an array, BP base puzzle, and is public. We're actually going to put inside a category called trigger actors, right? And there we go. So that's done here, which is great. Now we could, I think that's fine. Don't need to do anything else here, right? There's only one thing here that we need to do, which is basically now we need to be able to call this actor or multicast interaction here. So we need to find a way to bypass this, because what happened, this is the player, or actually in this case the actor interaction, right? Oh, what happened that? I can't rename this. Let me just try again. So the actor interaction, and this is going to be like a blue color, just so something that we know what's trying to do. And now I noticed that we're gonna have to rename those methods, because those methods now they don't serve, they need to serve a general purpose, because now we have actors that can interact with actors and players that can interact with actors. So let's just probably find a better name here. Let's call player actor interaction. And now what we're going to do here is you're gonna rename this from, instead of actor interaction, we're gonna call actor trigger interaction. And the reason why we're gonna call trigger is because this now could be triggered by actor or just a normal trigger, right? And this is gonna be actually the BP actor interaction, right? And now we need to find a way to trigger something on each individual actor that will, try to do this on our end, or, trigger those puzzles or whatever we need here, right? So to do this, what we need is we need to create here a custom event. And this time, this event, we are going to call API manual trigger interaction, right? And this is just going to call whatever we had here before, right? And here is when we want to trigger events from other actors, other, let's say, puzzle actors, right? Put it in that. Make sure it's like a blue, green, yellow color, and cool. Right, so let me just do a recap in here, just in case you guys got a little bit lost. But so what happened here is that this, the purple one here, is when the player interact with this actor. When we send the event from our controller back to our components, back to our actor. This one here is something that we're gonna be calling from the himself from the same actor here. So this guy here has the ability to call this method from other actors, and then those can trigger the interactions. So in this way, we can attach many actors, and as long as we have actors to interact with, we can loop through those items and interact them. And I think we're going to show, I think this is going to be a better example when we actually start to do the logic in here. But yeah, I think that's everything you need to do here. Yeah, so everything here should be good. Now we're going to compile and save, and let's go back to our lever. Right, so our lever has something that once it's completed, we want to trigger things. So what we're going to do here is when the lever moves or something, yeah, when the lever moves, gets triggered. And now, if you guys remember, we have created now an array called actors to interact. So we can just right click here and search for get actors to interact. And now we can do a for each loop on this. And I'm going to trigger the finishing that. And then I'm just going to leave the available here for now. And what we can do here, guys, is literally for every item we try to loop, we can call this API manual trigger interaction. So we can search for API manual trigger interaction. Just one thing here, let's make sure that is valid first. It should always be valid, but I think it's a good way of handling any possible errors that you may have. So just make sure it's valid in that. And once it's complete, once we have looped through all this stuff, we should mark the lever to be available again, so it can be used. And in this case, trigger all the other actors attached to this actor, right? And this is gonna be like a green color. Compile and save. And cool, nice. Now let's see if we can actually use that. So how can we attach this to this door? So it's very simple here. Now we have actors to interact with. We're going to press add element, and in here we are going to search for the door, right? And now if we press play, everything should work. So if I come in here, drag to the lever, okay, so that did not interact. Let's check why is trying to do this. Let's see if it's actually triggering this part of our loop here. So coming there, press this. It's coming there, coming here. It's triggering that, but it's not triggering the door itself. So this is coming there. It's doing this loop. Let's check for the door here. The door can't be interact with, which is great. Let's open up our door here. Let's check if that element is getting triggered. So it's not doing this. Can interact. Is that true? Yeah, that's true. Let's see if it's hitting this. I don't think it's hitting that, but let's see. Back in here. So it does this. So this is on the parent. And that comes here. And then if you press, let me just press play again here just to see. Come back in here. Yeah. So what happened is that it's not calling our method in here, actor interaction. This is not being triggered. For some reason, it's not coming true. So let's check if this is actually being triggered here. Let's check. Yeah, that's because... well, no, that's the wrong one. Let's see if it actually gets triggered, this part of it. Yeah, it is getting triggered. And that is being carried on, which is good. So we are calling the API manual trigger. I'm just gonna pause the video here and then I'll try to figure it out. I'll come back in a second. Alright guys, yeah, so I just found the issue here. For some reason, the problem that we're having here is that our component doesn't want to trigger those other events in here, but we don't need to do this. Because what happened here, if you guys remember, everything gets runs, it runs everything on the client. So sorry, when you trigger this, everything is running on a multicast. So what we can do here is that we open up our API manual trigger here again. Let's just make sure that we mark this guy to run a multicast. And instead of calling out this jazz here, like all this stuff, let's just call the function, the FN actor interaction function. And what's gonna happen now, that should work. And the reason why you're doing this is because it makes sense as well, because we are already triggering this stuff on the server, so we don't need to worry about this. So as you can see now, lever goes down and up, and the actors get triggered together, which is really good. So yeah, that sounds really really cool. Now, one thing that we could also improve here before we wrap the video up is that we could actually make this thing here run as part of the function. So in this way, it runs on the client all the time, and we don't have to worry about things like this. But on our case here, I think this should be fine. I think we should leave this as it is. But you could potentially move this to a parent function and then call this on the parent function. But I think, let me just have a look in here. So I think what we could do as well is we could do that. So that works. And I can show how powerful is this thing, which is really cool. Which is, you could do something like this now. So you can put, like, let's say 3 doors, and all your lever here could control all those 3 doors. So you have base door 2 and base door 3. And now if we save this, we can press play. Oh yeah, wrong location. Let me just go back here. And now, because we're doing a for each on all those loops, all those actors here, they receive the same input at the same time, which is really cool. Now, I think the next thing that we're going to do in the next lesson here is to add some kind of a delay. So let's say, how long do you want the delay to happen? Let's say I want this door to trigger the other door, to trigger the other door, and so on and so forth. So you could actually do this, but let's leave this for the next lesson. And I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. I think we're getting very close to, we're going to be adding more puzzles. We're going to add a button as well. We're going to add maybe some interaction with cubes and balls and circles and things. But I think for now we got the base here. And yeah, see you guys in the next one.